Name is Sylvester Stallone.
Yo, he's a
Yo,
Kappa.
Adrian.
He's a Kappa.
Yo, Adrian. Are they claiming? I just want to know. Are they claiming Sylvester? If they claiming Sylvester, I can't. I can't. I can't blame them. But if they're not, then
Yo, Rocco. Stallone is a Kappa. We have just discovered today. Yeah, that's hilarious. So, good morning. It's a Monday. I'm going to make it a fun day. Coming to you live from Philadelphia, where bad things happen. So I got my T-shirt on. Courtesy of Donald Trump.
Oh, jeez.
Bad things happened to him in Philadelphia.
You got a University of Penn education.
Well,
And he paid somebody to take his test so he could get in.
Really? Do you think he even had to do that?
Yeah, that was one of the stories that was out when he was running for office. His sister talked about the fact that he had to, they paid somebody to take the test for him to get in here.
I mean, I figured back then, who cared? I mean, isn't that back where it was just kind of like just money-free floating in these kind of high-level academic institutions? Where's Raphael when we need him? He'll explain it all in the comments. Yes, Rev, that's right. Everyone back then was paying for their children to go to these prestigious Ivy Leagues. Today, it's a little bit more sophisticated, as we've seen with the big, what do they call it? What gate was it? All the people who got caught, all those rich people last year.
Yeah, all the stars that are now in jail are serving their prison sentences because they paid money for their kids to go to these private institutions.
What jail?
They did some time. They did a couple months.
Oh my God! Seriously?
Yeah, they did. They did a few months. What's her name? Lori Loughlin's one of them. She did like 3 months, and then she's doing community service. They have pictures of her out, on the side of the road in, the fluorescent vest while she's out there picking up the trash.
And here's the greatest tragedy in all this. They'll end up making a movie off of it, and then making more money off the movie. And what happened to them?
Hey. So, there's no such thing as bad press if you know how to make money off of it.
Nick Talaferro says it was Fertilizer Gate.
It was Fertilizer Gate?
Yeah, not quite,
Nick,
but
Nick's back with us this morning again? Oh, jeez.
He probably hasn't. Well, he preached on Saturday because his service is on Saturday. He probably hasn't gone back to sleep since then. Still running on adrenaline. You know how it is after you preach. It's like, it's like you're like all worked up and you can't go to sleep. So he's still like, that's why he's up right now at 6 a.m. on a Monday. We should just like pass the mic to him and just let him just roll with it. Yeah. So, folks, we represent the Power Hour, coming to you every Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on WURD, Black Talk Media, in the city of Philadelphia, or Philadelphia, as some people call it. Well, actually, only as one person calls it, and nobody knows where he got that from. So, Philadelphia. And sitting across from me is Bishop Dwayne David Royster.
And sitting across from me is the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler.
And the glue that holds it all together in studio is none other than Kawesa.
Good morning.
Good morning. You sound very soft today. I just want you to know that. You're just like,
yeah.
How was your ride?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say I have this like a different mask on, and I don't. It's it's not difficult to talk. It's just different.
Gotcha.
It's different.
I got you. Now, how was your ride in today?
Not bad. Not bad at all. It's actually, I was surprised. I had some frost on my car, though, so I did it to scrape my windshield.
Really?
I was very perplexed about that. I was like, is it cold enough for that? But yeah, I had some frost on my car, so that was about it. So if anybody's getting up like right now and they're going to work, maybe give yourself a few more extra minutes to scrape, some ice off your car if you need to. Yeah. That's what I ran into anyway.
Gotcha. And the roads were okay, though?
Roads were fine. Okay. People weren't driving crazy, which is good because sometimes, people trying to get there early and fast, and they're not safe. But today, no problems, no problems.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for
well,
the
listen.
update.
Yeah, we might. I mean, middle of the day. That's not going to be the story because it'll be almost mid 60s.
I know.
It was
Wow.
beautiful out there yesterday. It's going to be a great looking week. So we are full on into the spring. Great motorcycle riding weather yesterday.
I'm about to say, I said you must have been out the bike.
I rode down your way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
You were
man.
down. You were down DC yesterday?
Not that far, but close.
Oh.
Some frat brothers riding.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ripping and running up 95.
Mhm.
Motorcycles everywhere. It's all you could see yesterday. Just my left hand got tired, because you hit everybody with the left hand when you pass each other. And it's like, oh man, here goes another bite. Left hand out. Like, what's up?
Yes. It's left hand low though, because you go too high, the air catches it and then throws you off. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like, I've been thinking about writing a book. No, I'm not going to give the title out. Somebody may get it, but it's about that concept of what binds bikers together, regardless. I mean, if I saw somebody with a Ku Klux Klan mask, a hood on, with a "We Love Trump" banner wrapped around them, and a sign on their back of their bike that say "Go back to Africa," and he was broken down on the side of the road, I would still stop and help him.
Wow, that's deep.
I'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'd give him some really strong words, and he'd give me some back. But I'm like, "I ain't gonna leave you out here stranded." And he said, "I know." He'd be like, "I know onWURD." I'd be like, "Yep, you know." And you know what? He wouldn't leave me out there stranded. It is the weirdest thing because I mean, it's such a it is a very polarizing thing because typically black bikers and white bikers are in very extreme political places.
Hmm.
But it's the mutual understanding of knowing that out there on that road, you're by yourself.
Yep.
And man, cars don't love you. And you know what? That's what we do. Put the politics aside, stop. I mean, I've had people stop, go get me stuff and come back. People I don't even know. That's love.
That is
So
absolutely.
I would help a Klansman.
Wait.
Yep. Then I tell him about himself on his way off.
Ah.
I know Facebook is going crazy right now. Like, you will do what? Yes.
Yeah, actually, no. Facebook's responding to the fact that Nick pointed out to Leslie, who was out there. Good morning, First Lady Tyler. That she is married to the one half of the famed tag team rap group. That is.
Man, he is. Let me tell you, I'm gonna drop a few pounds so he can stop with that joke. I haven't even I actually shaved my beard down just to the goatee, because apparently Nick thinks that when my beard is in full, and I got a few more pounds on, I look like the dude from the Geico commercial. Was that Geico? What commercial was that?
It's the tag team. Geico commercial that Nick has superimposed your face on, and sent memes around with it with your face on it instead of the actual guy. So yes.
Well, I'm used to people always telling me I look like someone else. So well, listen, let's get to the serious, hard hitting news this morning. Bruh.
First of all, I got a quick question before you do that. Did you finally see the Snyder Cut Justice League? Finished it, all of it? I watched it yesterday.
You did? No,
Yes.
The weather was too good. I couldn't go out there. How was it?
It was incredible. I just have to say that it was absolutely incredible. 4 hours though. It was just really long. But it went into a lot deeper the backstory. It was much darker than the Christopher Nolan version.
Yeah.
Much darker. And actually had an extended piece because it also showed the DC multiverse, which I think was very helpful to it all. But it was, I mean, there's a big debate, like Black Twitter's having a debate about whether Justice League, Snyder Cut, is on par with some of the, best of the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of being an epic movie, one way or the other. I have to admit, it was really good. It was really long. But it was really good, and just really appreciated the way that he put the pieces together. It was really powerful. It reminds you of a play, right? Because it went through a series of acts,
Hmm.
And they kept changing up the acts and everything. It took a long time for them to get to bringing back Superman, which was like amazing to me. Like 2.5 hours in, Superman is still not in the movie.
Oh, wow.
It took quite a while to get Superman back, and when Superman was back, he was wearing black. He wasn't
Well,
wearing blue and red.
I was going to ask you, was he? I mean, look, he was pretty dark in the last one, in the original Justice League. So I
Right.
got to imagine if this is a darker version, he had to
Oh
be
yeah,
like
absolutely.
just pretty cranky.
Yeah, absolutely. And it worked out really well. But it was a great movie all the way around. We recommend it to folk to be able to go see that.
Well, no, I did see the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So if you're a Marvel person, you
Hmm.
got to check that. I love what Marvel is doing in the streaming world right now, taking advantage of, like, I mean, WandaVision, dude, is dope. I
I
mean,
didn't even see
literally.
WandaVision. I haven't watched that, and I'm an
Let me
MCU guy. Yeah.
let me tell you, get past the first two episodes because it's so weird the way it starts that you're like, this is so stupid. I don't even understand it. Trust me when I tell you, watch it all, and you're going to be like, man, that was one of the most powerful little mini things. So it's like 9 or 10 episodes. And so they're going to do the same thing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And they got a feeling they're going to start doing these spinoffs everywhere. So by the time you're done, you're going to have a whole new series. But anyway, that's tight. But let me just say this. You talk about how they went back and did this as 4 hour thing. Um, Tootsie. There
Hmm.
is apparently an R-rated version of the movie Tootsie
The
that's out
original?
there. Yes. So
Really?
the right. So for
Justin
people who don't
Hoffman?
remember,
Yeah.
no, Robin Williams. Oh no, I'm sorry,
It's Justin
not
Hoffman.
Tootsie, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, Mrs. Doubtfire. Robin
Very
Williams.
very
Yeah.
similar things, right?
Okay.
So both of them
Right.
dress up like women to like get jobs, right? So, but Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams.
Uh-huh.
There is an R-rated version of that. And
Mm.
so the director said, he admitted this now. It came out in the news, but it's funny. So he says he made Robin Williams promise to do the script exactly like it was 2 times each, and then you could freestyle the rest.
Okay.
So he said so they said it's so raunchy they couldn't even put it on air back then, and so they're thinking about releasing it.
I mean, Robin Williams was a comedic genius. I
Oh
mean,
God.
he really was. But wow, that would be very interesting to see. I can't even begin to imagine. I can't even begin to imagine what he did to that script. Oh my goodness.
Dressed like an old white lady. Oh, it has to be hilarious. So
Wait a minute.
yeah,
I got one thing I need to say about the MCU before we get off of that though.
yeah.
So the Marvel, if you ever go to any of Marvel streaming, so like a long time ago, they had Luke Cage, they had Daredevil, they had I can't think of the Jessica Jones, right? It's always the same way with those Marvel series. The first two ones are always slow,
Yeah.
and then they really pick up from there. And it's I don't know, it's part of the way that they do their genre. Even if you go back and look at like the original Iron Man, original Thor, things like that, they're slow in the beginning, but then in the subsequent movies they actually move at a much quicker pace. And I think part of it has to do with laying down a foundation, explaining what's going on, helping people to understand it, and then it kind of takes off from there. So it's a formula for them.
Yeah, it is. It's and it works. I mean, look,
Yeah.
obviously they they,
Oh yeah.
they got folk hooked in
Millions they
there,
made.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it got me. So I remember comics were like a quarter.
Yeah,
Walk
I
down
do.
the
I remember
store,
too. I have a
walk.
cousin. My cousin in California. Well, he collected comics, and it's got like a whole collection to this date. Those
Bruh.
some of those comics. I mean, we're in our 50s, and some of those comics are just a few years younger than we are. So,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
kept them in cases. I mean, in plastic bags.
So check it. So man, look, in the world today, boy, I tell you, what's going on makes you wish that you could just stay in nostalgia and
Hmm.
go back
Yeah.
to the 70s and not have to come back. But there are a lot of crazy things out there. Definitely one thing that we have to talk about today is the story about Rent, and not the Broadway musical, but Rent,
Mm.
and a story that came out this week about landlords who, landlords like us. We rent our house out because, we don't stay in it. And so we're not really like your big landlord, right? So what has happened to people like that during the pandemic? if you have tenants who lost their jobs and could not pay their rent for the year. We were blessed that, the folk that were renting from us had jobs like us. They could work virtual, so no interruption. But I know a lot of people that was not the case. So as a quote unquote landlord, you could not put someone out, but there was no real assistance for you either.
Right.
I think there was like a 4-month kind of thing that they gave to people, but essentially, so a lot of people now who own homes are losing them, or they have a choice, like either mess up your credit or lose the house, sell the house or whatever. And so I know that a lot of the protection, I actually said this to some of the city council early on when they were going hard on, protecting, renters. I was like, that's wonderful. We got to do that. But are you putting things in place for people who are not these big apartment owners?
Right.
Because people like us make up a considerable chunk of
mom and pop homeowners. Yeah.
How many people
still
do that?
paying mortgages on properties? Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a really good story about a person who took out, she actually bought an investment property in Philly, kind of thinking like this will be the way that could help in retirement, but now facing that tough decision. And, I think sometimes even as organizers and activists, we get caught in a polarizing kind of conversation and forget that there are a lot of people that don't fit either of those extremes.
Right.
That are in the middle, and what do you do to kind of offset that? But so I do want to have a conversation about that. But when we come back from the break, got to really start with what's happening in New York with Cuomo and U.S. Representative Reed. So remember last week we were talking about with the Atlanta shooter that it's like whenever it seems like whenever these white guys get into a whole lot of trouble, it's always something that can be explained away. So the January 6th thing was, hey, Your Honor, I didn't go to D.C. to take over the Capitol and try to do an insurrection. I just got caught up. You got to understand, I'm not that guy. The man who goes and kills all these people in Atlanta, it wasn't him, wasn't racism, it was sex addiction. And now, apparently, alcoholism is responsible for U.S. Representative Tom Reed, Cuomo's chief opponent, has actually used 12 steps as his defense.
Oh, wow.
He starts off with, I have to admit, I'm powerless over alcohol. Like, dude, you are not using 12 steps in your actual, are you really using like the real 12 steps? He said, I've got to make amends with my family.
Wow. I mean, that's smooth. I mean, I'm like, yeah, you get sympathy on your side.
Not really. I know some people who really need the 12 steps and probably got some real strong words from under their breath. So anyways, the Power Hour, we got to take a quick commercial break. It's 6:21 in the morning. When we come back, we'll talk about that and other things as well. After all, it's your show. You tell us what you want to talk about on Facebook Live. Hit the share button, bring others into this conversation, and we see you too on YouTube. We'll be right back.
COVID vaccines are here, and Black physicians and scientists help to develop them. So I feel good about getting the vaccine. And with new forms of the virus now spreading, I know we need to keep up everything we're already doing. Masking up, keeping that 6-foot distance, and avoiding crowds. COVID's been doubly tough on us. So let's double down to take it down. We can do this. Learn more about getting the vaccine and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know you can use LIHEAP to pay your PICO bill? Last year, PICO customers received almost $17 million in free LIHEAP support. This year, take advantage. This deal is first come, first served. Apply now. Call 800-34-HELP-4.
Hey there, all you ashy folk. I got the solution for your ashy skin. Nubian K Essentials all natural body lotions at www.nubiankessentials.com. Also found at Hakeem's, 210 South 52nd Street, the Wayne Avenue Health Store, 5007 Wayne Avenue, and Cultural Exchange, 1450 Point Breeze Avenue. Or go to www.nubiankessentials.com and kiss your ashy skin goodbye.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, WURD Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly Tyler. We are here Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and of course, our opinion. And we have plenty of them. Just want to remind folk out there, if you're watching us via Facebook Live, please feel free to share your Facebook. Just hit that share button down in the corner and let folk know that you are out here and you are listening to the Power Hour.
The Power Hour, yes. Wow. So, man.
Talking about Tom Reed.
U.S. Representative Tom Reed, Republican out of New York, who I guess was going to run, thought he saw an opening there in New York because obviously Cuomo, I mean, women are still coming out on Cuomo. I think he has a new accuser.
Yeah, he's got an accuser that actually works for him right now.
Yeah, current aide.
Yeah.
And somebody said, he's like, he likes hugging and kissing on folk just because he's just, that's just who he is, and using like cute Italian phrases like ciao bella. That was in the story.
That was the ciao bella?
That was in the story, yeah. I didn't get that from Raphael. That's in the story.
What's that mean? Goodbye, beautiful?
I have no idea.
It's Italian, right? Ciao bella. Bella's beautiful, I know that, but ciao. Okay, got you.
And Joe wants to talk about on Facebook. He wants to talk about who Philly's next mayor will be. We had plenty of time for that one, Joe. Let's get to New York first. Who the next governor will and will not be. So Cuomo, I mean, look, he's hanging in there, but you got to wonder how much longer, right? And he's everybody wants him to resign. Democrats are looking at him like Republicans were looking like Trump last year. Like, please, you're just a dark cloud over the party. Just go somewhere. But Cuomo is being defiant. So looked like a good opening.
Cuomo is the Democratic version of Trump. I don't know why folk do not see this. He is the Democratic version of Trump.
Well, again, last year I didn't jump on that bandwagon.
Well, no, because, we have so many allies up there that can't stand the guy.
That's the first thing that we got, isn't it? You and I. And it's like,
they're like, no, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Cuomo's bad news. Cuomo's bad news.
And so Cuomo sucks.
Everybody was like, oh, Cuomo should be president. I'm like, y'all need to talk to the people up in New York. He might not want that.
Yeah, so Cuomo, however, his chief Republican rival, Tom Reed, out of Western New York, he was accused of, he rubbed a female lobbyist's back and unhooked her bra without her consent.
Yeah.
That's what he's at a bar.
Yeah.
But to his defense now, he said it happened, quote, at a time in my life in which I was struggling, end quote.
Yes.
Went on to say at the time he was powerless over alcohol, and he's going to retire from Congress now, and he said he's going to, quote, dedicate my time and attention to making amends for my past actions, end quote. I'm surprised he didn't use all of the 12 steps.
Well, let me just say this. I had to think about what I said earlier. And so, first of all, if that's his reality, that's his reality. And it's a very unfortunate circumstance that he allowed alcohol to interfere with his ability to serve the citizens of America and put this young lady, more importantly, in a very tense environment where she actually had to ask for help. And that the people at the bar threw the congressman out so that she could feel a level of safety. So, this is the problem with alcohol abuse and drug abuse, right? We folk have a tendency to act outside of themselves.
Hold on. Excuse me.
Okay.
I don't know. No. They're not acting outside themselves.
Well, the inhibitions are gone. You're right. The inhibitions.
They are not acting. That's called truth serum. All right. I'm just saying, and the idea that, see, this is what I'm getting at, which is, so for him, it is, what was the song? There's a song out there, right? Blame it on the alcohol.
Yeah.
Blame it on alcohol. It's like, hey, I didn't undo your bra. It was alcohol.
No. I'm not trying to make excuses for him.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, one, he had any business drinking alcohol, and when if you can't handle your liquor, as they would say. But two, this is just, he's done this. This woman's been traumatized, evidently, because she's bringing this up some years later. She's still impacted by it somewhere along the line. And, it's just absolutely horrendous. I'm glad that he's getting help. I'm glad he's working the program prior to this occurring. Of course, if that was the case, he could have just gone public a while ago and been like, yeah, I really messed up some things while, I was drinking, and, called himself out, but he didn't do that. So nevertheless, it's just a really jacked up situation, really.
Well, I'm just saying, but it's like, the reason I bring it up is not to diminish the issue of addiction, which is real. But I think that when people do this, it's a disservice to people who are really struggling with addiction. Because the reason you're bringing this up and invoking 12 steps is basically because it's been brought in the open. And it's like ruining your political career.
That's what I said earlier. He needed to confess that earlier.
Yeah. It's like,
if he had done it earlier, he would have had support. So when something like this comes up, people would have been like, yeah, well, that's what happens with the alcohol.
But the fact that you basically sexually accosted a woman in the bar, publicly undoing her bra, what's next after that, right?
Yeah, right.
And so, the fact that this happened, just own it. That's my point. Own it, shut up, and move on. Dude, it's like
that's not politics, man. That's not politics. That's not how politics is going to play out. This is not.
Well, this is true. You're right. That's not how politics plays out. But I'm talking about in the grander scheme of things, right? How we continually excuse. So it's when young people in Philadelphia who are white, who are from the suburbs, when the Eagles win the Super Bowl, come downtown and rip the awning off of a prominent building. It's just a youthful indiscretion, kids blowing off steam, celebrate the game. When it's like, kids from another community who are a little bit browner in pigment do something similar, we got to throw the book at you, you little criminals, because you should have known better. And and this is what I'm talking about, that we continue to, folk like this continue to get off the hook until it becomes something so egregious and serious that there is no taking it back. That's the guy in Georgia who has killed 8 people. And again, remember, hey, it's not me, it's the sex addiction. I didn't kill the people. The sex addiction did. Are you kidding me? I don't know. This excusing stuff away just for a certain class of people, it works my nerves. I'm sorry.
Well, you got a right to feel how you feel.
You got to, where's the higher power? For him and the higher power.
He said in his statement he was working with this higher power to try to work that out.
Some players from the Himalayas, Raphael's too much today. Listen, glad to see Malcolm listening from West Mount Airy. Glad to see Tawanda on this morning. Nick is causing all kind of havoc on our Facebook line. Andrew Yang for mayor of New York. What's up, Valerie? How are you this morning? Yes, R.I.P. to Cody Anderson. Prayers for his family as well. Glad to see others on Facebook Live. I think the sheriff is in town, as well as Bernita. Hey, Sheriff Bilal, great piece. I saw it on Fox 29 today about you as the first woman sheriff of Philadelphia. And again, and others as well. Glad to have you all on here. Yes, Khalid, the only show on WURD with no caller participation. We pride ourselves in that. Thank you. Yeah, good morning to you. Hey, man, we only get an hour and it's two of us. Sorry, But so the other story that I wanted to hit on, though, seriously, Philadelphia small landlords.
Yes, you were talking about that.
I'm sorry, before we go from that, I'm sorry. There's something we haven't talked about all week.
What's that? Well, today's Monday, so we really haven't talked.
I'm sorry. Well, all of last week.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans, quarterback.
Yeah.
You been following that story?
Is this the one where he was cussing on the Twitch? No, it's somebody else. Okay.
He wishes that was his only problem, bro.
I don't follow sports.
Well, Deshaun Watson has now been accused of 12 women, accused by 12 women, who are all masseuses of going too far. In fact, one even says that he forced her to do some things. Now, so obviously this is a huge story. It's also a little, I'm trying to figure this out. We really probably need to have a Houston-based or Texas-based attorney call into the show to kind of walk us through this, because one of these are all recent stories. These are things that apparently have happened. One was in December. These are all during COVID. And so one of these things, if true, that's like a crime, right? I mean, it's like if what she says actually happened, it's a crime.
Right.
What I don't understand is they have all retained the same attorney. So he's basically pulled together an entire group of people. Attorney Tony Busby, who is a prominent attorney who has also run for a number of political offices in the Houston area. But none of these are going to the police.
They're suing him directly.
They're suing him in civil court.
But there's no criminal case.
Right. I mean, it seems to me that, like I said, especially one of these that says that he literally forced her into a sexual act, that is sexual assault at the very minimum, rape on the far other extreme of that. But now they're saying they're going to turn their information over. The attorney's going to turn stuff over to law enforcement, I guess, for law enforcement if they choose to do something as well. But doesn't it seem like that's where you start, is with the cops first, and then you go to the civil?
Yeah,
versus
I mean,
the
it
civil
seems
first?
like that to me. But I'm trying to remember when Kobe got in trouble some years ago. Didn't she go directly to a civil case too? Why do I seem to remember that it was a civil case? This was when he was in, I think he was in Colorado, young girl, because he wound up buying his wife a $4 million ring. But I seem to think I remember that going directly to a civil case as well.
Yeah.
But but I mean, it does usually go criminal and then civil, right? So even when you go back to the OJ case, right, it was a criminal case, and then they lost the criminal case, but they went and sued him civilly. The families went and sued him civilly. So, I'm thinking that it would. I'm thinking that it would be. Yeah, it just seems like odd that there's no criminal piece first.
Yeah, so again, it started with one, then went up to 3, and now it's at 12 different women. And I'm sorry, Tawanda says we should have started with the trigger warning. I mean, I figured when I said Deshaun Watson, because I mean the story it's been all consuming. It's been the biggest news out there in sports over the last week, and it continues to grow and evolve. He was already up for a big he'd already asked for a trade out of Houston for other issues just with the team, and so again, but it was the timing of it, given the fact of what happened last week in Atlanta. I think also
Yeah.
This intersection between, you know, this young man who went into attacked these, you know, massage parlors, and this story that was also coming out really almost at the same exact time. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, hey, it's the NFL, so you don't know the truth.
Truth.
In the NFL, he'll survive this, but if he had taken a knee on the national anthem, his career wouldn't survive.
Yeah, I mean, how many cases was Ben Roethlisberger accused of in Pittsburgh, and nothing ever happened? He continued to play football. They didn't even kick him off the team, suspend him. He just kept playing. But I mean, there was multiple allegations against him.
But see, what does that say about our society? And because this is one of the things that women are talking about, and rightfully so, in the wake of what happened in the attack on the massage parlor. That is not just the fact that it was an attack against Asian Americans and people from the AAPI community, but it's also about the misogyny that goes along with it as well. And I have to agree, because, I mean, so let's say this all happened and he settles, because he's going to settle. Deshaun is rich, all right? And the other, because the story today is teams still interested in Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of teams who want him. He's like an incredible talent. So regardless of this entire, you know, thing over his head, he will work again. And Colin Kaepernick's great sin is that he knelt down during the national anthem to protest things that evolved to the point where George Floyd was choked out on TV, and Breonna Taylor was shot dead in her own bedroom, and Colin Kaepernick can't even get a tryout.
Right.
And so what does that, if you're a woman, that kind of tells you
how you're valued by the National Football League, right?
Well, by society.
Yeah.
Because
I say that because the biggest, there have been stories about this, the biggest, one of the biggest new fan bases for the NFL are women. You know, the fact that he will get another job in another team, the fact that Ben Roethlisberger is still there, the fact that Colin Kaepernick can't get a job, or we should even go back to the fact that the NFL has more sensitivity towards people fighting dogs than it does women. You go back to Mike Vick, right?
Yeah.
You know, that tells you how they are. They will take your money and abuse you simultaneously, and they're okay with that.
So you can be accused of sexual assault, and in the midst of it, you can still get a job, and teams still want you. But if you, oh man, yeah, this is something. And so if you fight dogs, the community will raise up and not let you come play there. So you fight dogs, degrade dogs, ain't no community gonna have you. You know, so
well, Vic had to sit out a couple of years with that too, right? He had to
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I'm saying, right? So that to your point, it's like, you know, there's more of a concern for dogs and their welfare, apparently, than for women.
Look, the NFL, I mean, most sports teams are plantation systems. Don't get me started on sports. This is why I don't. This is why I don't watch sports. Because there's all kinds of sexism, racism manifested in this. The only place where a team owner can tell you what you can and cannot do. You have a contract, and they can or cannot release you from it. Now, granted, you might be getting paid millions of dollars, but you're $1 million a slave. And that is, I mean, they have combines, which are basically you go out there and show your stuff. They check your teeth. They lather you up. They make you look real good so you can go out there for some plantation owner, team owner, to be able to pick you to go play for their team. I have problems with sports. I have big problems with sports.
Check your teeth in combines now?
No, that's what they used to do to the slaves. They would put them on the block, right? They would go check their teeth. You better believe they're doing all kinds of stuff. They're doing x-rays. They're checking out parts of the body. They're doing CAT scans. They're doing MRIs to make sure everything. They're checking the teeth, too, to make sure the teeth are all right. Come on now.
The teeth?
The teeth. They're doing all that stuff. This is why I do not support professional sports in this. I don't mind if kids are playing sports. I get it. Although, I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff even in high school sports when I was in school too, that the football players and others could get away with murder for all kinds of stuff. But I'm like, that's why I don't pay these guys. They got millions of dollars. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. The team owners do all kinds of crazy stuff. They treat them like crap. What was the it wasn't Golden State? Who was the owner out in the West Coast that was a vehement racist?
The Clippers.
The Clippers, right? Yeah, and you know, he was all kinds of stuff. Told his girlfriend, even though he was married, that she didn't want him hanging out with the players. Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't owned part of the Atlanta WNBA team, and they're out there wearing Black Lives Matter shirts. She's all ticked off because they were, come on, man, this is just ridiculous. We don't need to deal with professional sports this way. We're way over time.
I agree with you in everything you said, but brother, teeth? They checking teeth at the combine? Hey, let me see you run that 100. That's good, but come on, hold on. Smile. Come on, Toby. We got to go to break.
Wait a minute. Nick is like, I'm letting facts, don't let facts get in the way of strong point. What's the point, Nick? What's the point?
Oh, Nick is like, you sounded like you said something else. We got to go to break. You said it so fast. Nick is like, sounded like you said something else. It's 6:44. Kuwaisa is probably like just.
She just sent us a text, told us to go to break.
The piles of hair on the floor in the studio. Sorry, Kuwaisa. We'll be right back.
COVID-19 has highlighted the need for digital equity and internet adoption programs. Comcast's Internet Essentials program is designed to connect families to low-cost, high-speed internet and laptops so students can be ready for anything. Since 2011, Comcast has connected 4 million students from low-income families to the internet through its Internet Essentials program. Learn more about how Internet Essentials is connecting students.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
Don't miss the Dr. Emeka Show on its brand new day and time. Sundays from 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. beginning Sunday, April 4th. Dr. Emeka. Exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Merrill. Some volume picks up southbound 95, Cotman down through Bridge, heavy through construction, again Allegheny through Girard northbound. Not too bad as of yet. Vine Expressway through Center City, still light westbound Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill itself both ways. No major problems or delays there as of yet. Same thing on the PA Turnpike and the Blue Route 476, 55 northbound. Getting a bit busy there now north of Deptford in the 42. With Merrill Guided Investing, you have the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Get started at merrilledge.com/investing goals. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. Member SIPC. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
A beautiful spring day today. Bright sunshine, 65 degrees this afternoon. Mostly clear this evening, down into the 50s during the evening hours, and a low of 40 Tuesday morning with a chance of some fog. But it clears out, partly sunny and 65 degrees. Increasing clouds for Wednesday with a chance of showers and a high of 64. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster and Mark Kelly Tyler. Now, we need to clarify something. I did not say the N-word shortly. I said what I was saying, although it sounded like, because I was speaking very quickly because we had to go to break. I said Nick had said. That's what I was saying. Let me just clarify that.
That's awful close.
Nick had said, because Nick made this point. He said, He said, go ahead, Bishop. Don't let the facts get in the way of a strong point. Now, I think this is referring back to the fact that I was talking about the fact that that during the combines and other events, they are checking the teeth of the sports players. And I was drawing a parallel to what they would do to slaves on an auction block, that they would check their teeth to see how healthy they were. I still stand by the fact I'm pretty confident they're checking their teeth, because they are checking everything else at these combine events, because the owners and the coaches do not want to get any player that is going to potentially have health issues, because it would cost them money and time. So I will go back. I just wanted to clarify that. I did not say the N-word, although some people said it sounded like that. I was not saying that at all. It's not part of my lexicon of words that I use on a regular basis. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to say, so now you've just given some racists the out. They'll be like, no, I didn't say N-word. What I said Nick has said. I know it sounds like I just called you an N-word, but no, I said Nick has said. Nick has said what? Oh, I just use that word all the time. It's my new phrase. Nick has said. So listen, I do want to hit this story. This story is out of it's out of WHYY. It's a very extensive story on landlords. And as I said in the opening of the show, there is a real problem in the city of Philadelphia and across the country with what is going to happen with small landlords.
Yes.
In this current economy that we're in. So, I mean, think about this. When we talk about like these small landlords, people who only own 1 or 2 units make up 73% of the people who rent property in the city of Philadelphia. But they only make up but all of those properties together don't come close to the actual number of units, because the 20-something% that own the rest are like these huge like developments, right? But if you lose a lot of those smaller units, it's going to be harder for people to find housing down the road, because I mean, think about it. You know, the kind of restrictions that people put on someone if you're renting your house out, you know, you're going to make exceptions. A lot of people get rentals through places where it's like somebody with a good heart is just like, yeah, you know, I know your credit's messed up, or I'm not going to run a credit check. Just kind of work it out with me and we'll make it happen. And that makes up for a considerable amount of housing stock that allows people to get back on their feet or keep a roof over their head. And so I have continually been concerned about what is the government doing for people who are renting single family homes out in this moment. It seems like all of the programs have been either to prevent evictions, which is important in this moment, because if not, these bigger units would have been throwing people out on their ear, 7-8 months ago, or sending money to like corporations that are multi-million-dollar corporations that are into housing, billion-dollar corporations, and the people who are getting squeezed are folk literally like you and I on this call this morning.
Yeah, I think that though there was supposed to be a program where they had like rent funds where people could actually apply, get the money for their rent to be paid, and it was being paid directly to the landlord. Now, but I think part of that also goes to what you were just saying, right? There are some mom and pop landlords that don't go get the rental license that you have to get from the city. And so you have to have all your ducks in a row to be able to receive those funds, which of course the big corporations do. But, you know, smaller individuals might not necessarily do that. So it makes it very complicated to do that. Now, there was also supposed to be a mortgage moratorium as well, although you can do a mortgage moratorium, but not necessarily doing a tax moratorium because the city gonna get their taxes, right? That's
the mortgage moratorium, in most cases, you know, the offers have been, yes, you can put yours back 3 months. Now you can put it back 6 months. You can put it back 9. But when it comes back, it's not like I think some of the original plans were you could take those payments and then put them at the end of your loan. So that when you start back, you start from zero, you're good. They stopped that. So that was like the first wave. So now what they're doing is, in most cases, it's just piling up. So yeah, you can put it off, But I
But
mean,
you're going to have to pay when it comes due and when the moratorium lifts.
you got to pay the whole thing up front. And so again, I point this out because you know what often happens is, again, in movements and in moments like this, the people who are fighting the most are people who are fighting for those who are on the extreme, and they make up the majority, right?
Yeah.
But we also forget that there are a lot of people who are in the middle who don't have anybody fighting for them. And it's like, you know, so you get lumped in with, you know, I mean, so we lump all small landlords in with the landlord class, when in fact, these smaller, you know, landlords, these people who own one home, who are renting their house out or a piece of their house out, they are more like the tenants who like the tenants are trying themselves to not lose what they have. And you're talking about, you know, the disappearance of Black wealth over the last year.
Oh yeah.
And so this is the home is typically where we have always had. It's been our biggest asset. And so if we have more Black folk losing their homes or these rental places as a result, that only exacerbates another larger problem. And I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm totally in agreement with you on that. And I think that we have to have a both and solution, not an either or solution, which is what we've had thus far. Because we're going to have, you know, like you said, more Black folk losing their homes in Philadelphia, you know, their investment properties, family homes. And, you know, they might not live in the city anymore, but they still own property here because it's been passed down to them from family to family. And folk will lose that and lose that generational wealth that was being built. Some, you know, one of the things about Philadelphia is that at one time in history, Philadelphia had the highest level of low-income home ownership of any city in the country. That has slowly been eroded and changed. And so, you know, this is going to be a struggle, and we're eventually going to wind up becoming a majority renter city unless we address the poverty issue and help make people whole in this moment. So,
well, like Nick has said,
Lord, okay. All right, it's time to go. Thank you so much for being here with the Power Hour today.
I said Nick has said.
Thank you, Quasha, for everything that you do each and every day. Thank you to everybody that's listening to us on the air, except Nick Talaferro. Thank you to thank you to all of our listeners on the air, on Facebook, on Twitter, or YouTube, all the various channels that you find yourselves. Thank you, Reverend Tyler, for everything that you do each and every day. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. to bring you the latest in news happenings around Philadelphia and, of course, our opinions. And, by the way, stay tuned for the Wake Up with Word show with Solomon Jones. And listen, do us and yourselves a favor. Go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.